Full resumption of cross-border travel between Hong Kong and mainland. A massive earthquake leaves hundreds of people dead in Turkey and Syria. And the U.S. military searching for the remnants of a downed Chinese balloon off the Carolinas. Good evening and welcome to TVB News. All land border crossings between the city and the mainland reopened today, including the Lo Wu control point. The Lian Tang Heng Yun Wai control point has also opened for the first time. Up until 4 p.m., 170,000 people had crossed the border, with 37,000 of them passing through Lo Wu port. Sharon Tang boarded an early train to Lo Wu to check out what's new at the checkpoint, which had been shut down for 3 years amid the pandemic.
The feeling of coming home. That sentiment was evident among passengers heading north to Lo Wu at various MTR stations. Many, like this woman, are thrilled to finally meet their families across the border. The first train arrived at Lo Wu station at 6 a.m. Hundreds waited for about half an hour to cross the gates and enter the departure hall. Starting today, only those who have been to overseas places and Taiwan within the past 7 days are required to show proof of a negative PCR test result in order to cross the Hong Kong-Shenzhen border. The Immigration Department has deployed staff to remind travelers to have their health declaration QR code ready, but some were troubled by the new arrangement.
All the old men cannot use the mobile phone, or some old men, is particular old woman, very angry and argue and quarrel. Finally, I tell the officer.
Others were all smiles when they passed the gates, like this student pursuing a doctoral degree at Tsinghua University.
I don't know how to say, but I think that I'm so peaceful right now. So you need not to consider other things, and you not to consider about the COVID test or the other quarantine policy. So just back to normal.
Here, a wishing wall was set up to welcome those traveling from Hong Kong. Many wish for health and happiness, adding they're so happy to be back.
Some travel agencies also took the opportunity to open tours within mainland cities. Over on the Shenzhen side, about 80 people were waiting to cross the border, some of them students who have not had in-person classes in Hong Kong for years. The Lo Wu checkpoint had been shut down since February 4th, 2020 due to the pandemic. The immigration process from Lo Wu station to Shenzhen took us only 15 minutes. The transport interchange in Shenzhen was filled with people heading to various mainland cities via buses or trains. The facility recently underwent a 100 million yuan renovation, now offering seats that can charge travelers' phones.
I'm going to Guangzhou just to chill there. Amazing, feel free.
If you're expecting a lot of action going on once you stepped out of the local port, it's most likely not the case. Many shops and restaurants, except for a few fast food chains, remain closed, at least for today. Interestingly, telecom companies are packed with those waiting to renew their mainland phone numbers after being idled for 3 years.
A full recovery will take some time. The Lo Wu commercial city, which used to be bustling with visitors, only had a few shops opened this morning. The transport tower at the Lo Wu border is closed due to construction works. Sharon Tang, TVB News, Shenzhen.
Today is not only the first day of the full resumption of cross-border travel between Hong Kong and the mainland, but also the first time that the Lian Tang Heng Yun Wai checkpoint opened to the traveling public. Sources say up to midday, some 1,400 people had gone to the mainland by way of the new checkpoint. Mimo Sung-ai with more.
This is the Lian Tang Heng Yun Wai checkpoint, the first passenger and vehicle direct access land crossing. It means one not only can take public transport to the checkpoint, but can also drive and park one's vehicle there before crossing the border. While the new checkpoint may not be as well known as the ones in Luohu and Huanggang, some travelers chose to go there because of its novelty.
Well, first because it's new, so I want to try it out, and second because I've never been to Liantang before.
When asked about his border crossing experience at the checkpoint, he said,
Very smooth, very easy, very convenient, and all the staff were very helpful and welcoming.
This man who travelled with his son also enjoyed his border crossing experience at Lantan Hernu Wai checkpoint. He added that they were about to visit their family members in Shenzhen who they had not seen for years. He described his emotion as overjoyed. After going through the passenger clearance, travellers can get to the Lantan checkpoint station in Shenzhen, a more convenient way to go to Shenzhen East and Guangdong East. Meanwhile, to make the journey easier for the public, Citybus has opened a new bus route, B7, providing daily services between the checkpoint and the Shenzhen-Fenneng area.
The bus operator says with the removal of PCR tests, it believes there will be more mainland visitors coming to Hong Kong in the summer, bringing the number of cross-boundary passengers to 60 or 70% to pre-pandemic levels.
While the construction of the Lantan Hernu Wai checkpoint was completed in August 2020, its previous usage was for goods vehicles only. To celebrate the control point's inauguration, a ceremony was held there this morning. The event was attended by some government officials, including Secretary for Security Chris Tan. Mingmusanai, TVB News.
The first Hong Kong mainland land crossing to welcome travelers today was the 24-hour Huanggang checkpoint. A bus operator said a total of 75 buses had traveled northbound and southbound by 4 p.m., carrying about 1,900 passengers. After a 3-year hiatus, many people went to Santin Interchange early this morning to wait for the yellow bus to cross the border at the Lok Ma Chau Huanggang checkpoint. It is the only land crossing in Hong Kong that operates 24 hours a day. But some passengers were unhappy after waiting for the yellow bus for over an hour. And overseas, the death toll from a 7.8 magnitude earthquake that ripped across the Turkish-Syrian border is rising steadily, with hundreds killed on both sides. The quake hit southeast Turkey and Syria early Monday, toppling buildings and sending panicked residents fleeing outside on a cold winter's night. The latest report says in Turkey alone, at least 912 people were killed and more than 500 injured. Matthew Bray has more.
Turkey's disaster management agency said the big earthquake struck early Monday and was followed 10 minutes later by another strong tremor. On both sides of the border, residents were jolted out of sleep and rushed outside if they could into the winter night as buildings were flattened. The quake knocked down many buildings in the region, such as here in Adiyaman, triggering a frantic search for survivors and rushing people to hospital where possible. By daylight, it was possible to see the force of the destruction. Here in Diyarbakir, the centre of this apartment block was basically ripped apart in the centre. An official said 17 buildings had collapsed here. This man says there are people still trapped under the rubble. I have a friend living here. His children were rescued from the top floor. The Turkish Interior Minister said the earthquake had hit 10 provinces at 4:17 a.m. local time, and that all rescue services, including the armed forces, had been mobilized to deal with the destruction. The force of the quake was felt in Cyprus, Lebanon, as well as Cairo in Egypt. Over the border in Syria, the quake smashed opposition-held regions that are packed with 4 million displaced from other parts of the country due to unending civil war as well as government-held territory. Back in Ankara, the Vice President Fuat Oktay said weather conditions were hampering rescue efforts, and he urged residents not to use roads. Mosques were opened up as shelter for those unable to return to damaged homes. Many countries have offered help to Turkey after President Recep Tayyip Erdogan requested assistance. Turkey sits on top of major fault lines and is frequently hit by earthquakes. In 1999, 18,000 were killed in the northwest of the country. Matthew Bray, TVB News.
The U.S. military is searching for the remnants of what it suspects to be a Chinese spy balloon after it was shot down on Saturday just off the East Coast. The appearance of the balloon over North America early last week has increased tensions between the U.S. and China, while Republican politicians have criticized U.S. President Joe Biden for not shooting it down earlier. China, meanwhile, has lodged a formal complaint with the U.S. Embassy over the attack on what Beijing calls a Chinese civilian unmanned airship by military force. Nazvi Karim reports.
Debris from a Chinese balloon shot down off the east coast of the Carolinas is reportedly spread over 11 kilometers after falling from around 60,000 feet. The political and diplomatic fallout, however, is likely to stretch farther. The incident already saw U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken cancel a trip to Beijing aimed at easing tensions between the two countries.
The U.S. Navy coming in with the China balloon.
This footage was taken by a North Carolina man, Brady Deal, who said he saw U.S. Navy boats bringing in a white, deflated balloon. The Pentagon is declining to comment on the footage, while police have warned residents of North Myrtle Beach not to touch any debris. Initial reports suggest any intelligence gained by China from the balloon would be no greater than from what Beijing could obtain through satellites. The balloon was reported to have passed over sensitive nuclear sites as it drifted across North America. Republicans are outraged that U.S. President Joe Biden waited until Saturday to shoot it down. Biden said he had ordered a hit on Wednesday, but was advised to wait until the object was over water to ensure the safety of those on land. Florida's Republican Senator Marco Rubio said the U.S. was made to look weak, with China's message to the world being, "Look, these guys can't even do anything about a balloon flying over U.S. airspace." Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, a Democrat, praised Biden's measured actions.
We are hearing GOP criticism of the balloon mission, that they are saying we should have shot down the balloon the minute we saw it. They are premature and they are political.
On Sunday, Chinese Vice Foreign Minister Xie Feng lodged solemn representations to the head of the U.S. Embassy in China over the incident. He said the straying of the airship into U.S. airspace was an unexpected accident caused by unforeseen circumstances, a fact that the U.S. should not distort. Xie described the U.S. response as an overreaction, warning Washington not to take further steps to harm China's interests or escalate tensions. Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
Britain faces its largest ever strike by health workers today. It comes as tens of thousands of nurses and ambulance workers walk out in an escalating pay dispute. The strike would place further strain on the National Health Service. Nurses and ambulance workers have been striking separately on and off since late last year. But today's walkout, involving both, largely in England, will represent the biggest in the 75-year history of the NHS. Health workers are demanding a pay rise that reflects the worst inflation in Britain in 4 decades. But the government says that would be unaffordable and cause more price rises. Still ahead, John Lee in Saudi Arabia promoting business and investment opportunities the city can offer to the Middle East. And a huge swarm of sea butterflies spotted off the Israeli coast in the Red Sea. Welcome back. Chief Executive John Lee is in Saudi Arabia on his maiden visit to the country. On the first day of his trip, he met local officials and media to promote business and investment opportunities that Hong Kong can offer to the Middle East. Christy Khan reports.
Shortly after his arrival in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, Chief Executive John Lee attended a press briefing organized by the Hong Kong Trade Development Council. The event was designed to promote the city's business and investment opportunities to the local media. Lee said he hopes Hong Kong can build stronger ties with Middle East countries.
Hong Kong is now seamlessly connected to the world again. There's no isolation, no quarantine, and no restriction for you to come to Hong Kong.
Lee also emphasized that the Israel government will offer assistance to all individuals keen on fostering business and investment collaboration in Hong Kong.
I will be helping everybody to come to Hong Kong, and the opportunities are boundless, really. Because if you look at Hong Kong, you're not just looking at Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. You're looking at Hong Kong as Hong Kong plus GBA. You're looking at Hong Kong as Hong Kong plus the greater mainland market. And you are looking at Hong Kong as a Hong Kong connected to the world.
Lee met Saudi Arabia's Minister of Investment and the Deputy Governor of Public Investment Fund. He also attended an investment forum organized by the Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office in Dubai and the Hong Kong Trade Development Council. In his remarks to the forum, Lee unveiled that the two governments have agreed to start formal negotiations on an investment promotion and protection agreement, which will help strengthen investor confidence and increase bilateral investment flow. Some local business representatives who attended the forum indicated an interest in investing in Hong Kong.
The speech of His Excellency, the Chief Executive, created better confidence in the opportunities that are available in Hong Kong. I think that it was a good opportunity for us to know more about the facilities that Hong Kong is providing for foreign investment.
Hong Kong, it's a really main hub where, you can have the leisure, you can have the business, you can have, the relaxation, you can have whatever entertainment you want. And really, it's a great city, and we would love to have a strong relation, hopefully, between us and them.
While in Riyadh, Lee today attended an exhibition on technology and investment. He was later set to leave for Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. Christy Khan, TVB News.
And a large number of sea butterflies have been spotted off the Israeli coast in the Red Sea. Such an amount of the creatures has not been seen along Israel's southern edge since 1994. The appearance of the butterflies dotted the blue waters, with thousands of red spots delighting winter divers in the region. Israel's Nature and Parks Authority said it was not clear what prompted such large numbers of them to swim close to the shoreline. They're only a few millimeters in length and are not known to be harmful to humans. That's the news. Pearl Magazine is up shortly. Bye for now.